today. Usually I'm up here in the music side of things and sort of get to hide behind the music rather than actually be raw and talk to you about what's on my mind. I guess it's obvious when you get asked to preach that you wonder and you ponder on what could I preach about? What do I know really well? What is easy for me to talk about and what is on my mind? And so the thing that I chose today was stress. Stress is something that I know very, very well, all too well in fact, and I feel that it's something that is important in today's society and that we can all relate to, because let's face it, our world today that we live in is very busy. Do you wake up in the morning already worrying about what you have to do that day? Are you constantly stressing about these car repayments or rent repayments, mortgage, etc.? Wedding, that's on my mind at the moment. Constantly worrying about those things. Are you worried that you can't afford certain things? Are you worried that you maybe can't afford to pay for everyday things? Are you worrying about moving? I was worrying about that this week. Are you worrying about work? Are you worrying about if you are good enough? Today I'm going to identify some of these things with you and hopefully help you in how you can cope with these things, and ultimately going to God, seeking His help through all your stresses. I know Pastor Steve prayed, but I would like to just pray one more time today. Dear Lord, thank you so much that you've given me this opportunity. I pray that through my sermon today, I pray that it's your words that are spoken, not mine. I pray that you'll bless each and every person here today in this building, and I pray that, if not all, at least one person will gain a blessing from this message today. Amen. If stress was a person, we would be best friends. Stress would always want to stay over at my place. In fact, stress would probably move in. That's how close we are. Stress would always want to be part of my daily routine. Stress would probably feel better if it was involved in every single discussion I had with each person that I encounter. Stress would come with me to work. Stress would come with me to every single class that I teach, and it would sit right there in that far corner at the back watching me, making sure that I'm still looking at it and identifying that, yes, that's stress, that's you sitting right there. Stress would probably come with me on holidays. Stress would be a part of my every thought, every feeling, and part of my mental capacity in dealing with things in my life. It sounds annoying, right? Having this person, stress, being with you every single day, every minute of every single day, just right by your side, being very clingy. I would feel very suffocated. And that's how I do feel in a lot of times in my life. You can probably guess where I'm going with this. I stress a lot. And if you go to the next slide, I found this on Facebook. Actually, no, my fiancé found this on Facebook and he tagged me in it because he knows me all too well. And he also spends time with my friend Stress. I stress about stress before there's even stress to stress about. Then I stress about stressing over stress. That doesn't need to be stressed about. It is stressful. And I tell you, it is stressful. That is me to a T. And I'm sure there is some of you in this room who can also relate to this. I spend more time with stress than my family and my friends. My normal day would not be considered normal if stress was not a part of it. I'm sure to some of you it might seem like I've got it all together on the exterior, but inside, sometimes I'm not all that together and I'm stressing frantically about everything, even to the minor details. I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable with you now, and I'm going to tell you my daily routine with stress being right there by my side. I always put my alarm on the night before I go to bed. However, I never wake up to my alarm. I always wake up at least 10 minutes before my alarm goes off. When I wake up, I look at my phone, what is the time? Okay, I've still got 10 more minutes. So I lie there, and already I'm stressing about how many minutes do I have till I actually have to get up? How many minutes do I have till my alarm actually goes off? Do I have time to maybe sneak in a little nap? Then my alarm goes off. Yes, I am one of those people that presses snooze about 2-3 times. So I always make sure my alarm goes off quite early before I actually need to get up. So when I press snooze once, I'm then thinking about, what do I wear today? Now I know it's cold today, so maybe I need to look at a coat, but then again, it's the Gold Coast, so it will probably get hot during the middle of the day, so I don't want to take this massive coat to work, etc., etc. And then about the third time my alarm goes up, I get up. I then look at the weather on my phone, because my mind doesn't know the weather, so I need proof of what the weather's going to be. Then I spend about 10 minutes choosing clothes, and what influences my decision is my mood, the weather, if I got something new, or what I've already worn that week. So I'm stressing about what I have to wear. I'm already at a high stress level before I even start getting ready for the day. By this time I've probably wasted 10-15 minutes, so that's gone into my breakfast time. So now I don't have enough time to have breakfast. So then I frantically go and find something for breakfast. Then I go and do my hair and makeup, and while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about this lesson that I have to teach, wondering if I've planned enough for it. Do I need to add something else? Oh, I need to get to school early so that I can plan this and this and this, etc., etc. And then I get into the car. And then I get stuck in traffic. So I'm stressing about the traffic. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to get to school in time. I'm not going to get to school to do these 5 things that I wanted to get done before I start teaching for the day. Why is there so much traffic? I can't do this. I have road rage. There's so many things going on in my mind. Then I get to school and I only have time to do the 3 things that I need to do. So then I'm stressing about the fact that I'm 2 items behind what I wanted to achieve that day. So when I get to school, I'm at this stress level. And then, of course, at school as teachers, a number of you are teachers in this room, you can identify with me that teaching can be quite a stressful profession. So I go through the stresses of teaching all day, every single day. Am I teaching right? Are my students going to be learning from me? Is my lesson fun for them? Are they enjoying what I'm teaching? Am I managing the students' behaviour the way that I'm supposed to be? Am I good enough, etc., etc. So I'm constantly stressing about all these things. And then there's the usual bills that I need to pay. There's the usual wedding that's on my mind. There's the usual maybe family stresses I might have, or friendship stresses I might have, that also come all together in this stressed person that I have right next to me. Getting very, very annoying. Then it's the end of school, I go home, I relax for a little bit, but while I'm relaxing, I'm stressing about, do I have time to relax? Do I have enough time to do this? I need to make sure that I stop relaxing at this time so that I can have enough time to make dinner and then have enough time to do the work that I had to take home, because I was 2 items behind on my list today. So I need to get those done today. Then once I get all of that done, I go to bed and I lie in bed and I go to sleep stressing. Go to sleep stressing, I wake up stressing. It is stressful. Do you understand why I've got this friend, stress, right next to me? This best friend of stress. standing right here. Let's just imagine. I've outlined to you my typical day, very, very roughly, very quick. I don't know if I made some of you stressful from that, and I'm sorry if I have. I'm sorry if I have. But I don't like it. All I seem to know is stress. That's all I know. I don't know how to function without stressing, to the point where I don't even know how to relax. And that's scary. And that in itself is stressful. How can I not know how to relax? I would have outlined some things to you that make me stress, but there are other things that also make me stress. The typical money, rent, bills, car, savings, and the wedding. That is something that I'm stressing out quite a bit, and I can't wait till it's over. Elope sounds pretty good right now. Eloping sounds really, really good. I stress about school and work constantly, all the time. Even on holidays, even on weekends, I'm stressing about work. And as teachers, we know that our work is not a 9-to-3 job. We have to take stuff home in order to be on top of things and get things done. I sometimes even stress about, why doesn't this person text back? Or why isn't this person emailing me back as quickly as they could? Why aren't my friends texting me back? Whether I'm a good enough fiance, whether I'm doing what Josh wants me to do, and whether I'm actually being what he needs. A lot of you knew that at the beginning of the year I had a car accident. My back is still not right, and I'm constantly stressing about why isn't my back getting better? Do I have time to relax? If I do relax, why can't I actually relax? And also, what I have stressed about a lot in the past is, am I good enough to be a teacher? I'm sure that you can relate to these things, maybe all, if not some. Stress is a problem, it's an epidemic in our stressful society that is attacking us person by person, drawing us further into the depth of its stressful core. But how do we cure this epidemic? How do we do this on our own? I know for me, how I try and ease my stresses is usually I have a cup of tea. This is my favourite tea, rose and French vanilla. I love it. I drink it all the time, probably sometimes 2-3 times a day, more than I should probably, but I just love it. It calms me, and that's what I do as soon as I get home, and even sometimes right before I go to bed. I watch Friends. I love Friends. And I started watching the whole series last year as a way to sort of relax and take my mind off school. And currently I'm in my third run of going through all 10 seasons. I love it so much. And I love laughing, so that also eases my stresses. So I laugh a lot too. And I do that by, I guess, making a fool of myself sometimes, as my family and my fiance can attest to. I watch movies, I talk to people, my fiance a lot. I even cry sometimes if it's that bad. And I sleep. I love sleep. My second best friend would be sleep. But what have I tried? So I'm sure some of you went around and maybe bought this colouring book, this anti-stress colouring book. Yeah, oh yes, we've got one doing it right now, you must be stressed. So I've tried this. My fiance bought this for me last year because he knew how much I stressed. And in your first year of teaching, you do stress a lot. So I tried that. I've probably done about 3 full pages in this massive book, and I've had it for over a year already. It does not help me. It does not help me. Why? Because I'm constantly stressing about, am I keeping in the lines? What colour do I want to do now? But I've already used a shade of purple. I can't use another shade of purple. etc., etc. So that's not a way to take my stress away. I even bought, this aromatherapy anti-stress shower gel. That does not work. I just like the smell. I just enjoy the smell. It does not work. And I've also tried chocolate, and if you can go to the next slide, I saw this on Facebook. Did you know chocolate ice cream can reduce the mental stress? It can, but then I stress about, but then I need to wash this spoon and this bowl because I've used this bowl and spoon for the ice cream, etc. And my favourite dairy milk chocolate or Cadbury chocolate is Top Deck, so I usually binge eat this as well if I'm stressed, but that doesn't really help either. Are these effective ways in dealing with stress? I wouldn't say that they are all 100% effective. The Australian Psychology Society took a survey, its most recent survey in 2014, about the stress and well-being of Australians. If you could go to the next slide. This is, I can't really see it, but this is the causes of stress. And the top cause is personal financial status. So paying rent, mortgage, bills, etc., etc. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. Our next one is family issues, personal health issues. I was actually surprised that issues in the workplace or stressing about the workplace was not in the top 3. I was actually expecting it would be like financial issues, then issues in the workplace. But then again, this is 2014, that's the most recent survey they took. So it could be a lot higher now. Just ponder and have a look at that for a little bit and see if you can relate or identify to any of these causes of stresses. If you go to the next slide, they've also separated these causes of stresses into different genders. So what women stress about most compared to what the men stress about most. So the females are in the lighter shade of green, the males are in the darker shade of green. I think it's safe to say that the majority of the time the females are the ones that are stressing the most over the males. Is that true in my family? So these are the things that we stress about most in our society today. But here's what society gives us in terms of how we can deal with stress. So this is what society is telling us to do. Next slide. Okay, so society says do something relaxing. But what? What is relaxing? Do something relaxing. It then says drink alcohol. Sorry, that's meant to be switched around. The one on the right is the top one, so I had to split them because it was too big. So watch television or movies is the first one. Spend time with friends or family, listen to music, focus on the positives, read, eat something, adjust my expectations, do something active. And then, do something spiritual is the fourth last. On the left, if you're looking at the left-hand side, doing something spiritual is fourth last. Society does not expect us to go to God straight away. Society expects us to do everything else but. Society expects us to watch movies first. Well, I do that. Society expects us to spend time with family and friends. I do that. I remember last year, my first year of teaching, it was almost every weekend that I was up at my parents' place, just because I needed time out. Listening to music. Yeah, I do that sometimes, listening to music. Society doesn't want us to go to God. Next slide, please. So this is the effectiveness of strategies for managing stress. So in 2014, doing something relaxing had 84% effect. Was 84% effective. That's 85% effective. That's the highest. Doing something spiritual came at 79% effective. So even though in the previous slide the order was a lot different, this is how effective to people that were surveyed in 2014 felt when it came to dealing with stress and managing their stress. In terms of stress and its impacts on our physical and mental health, just over 7 in 10 Australians, so 72% in 2014, reported that current stress was having at least some impact on physical health, with almost 17% reporting that current stress was having a strong or very strong impact on physical health. In 2014, Australians were most likely to seek help to manage their stress from family, friends, and general practitioners, as well as doing these things. As Christians, we know exactly what to do to help ease our stresses, exactly what to do. So my question is, if we know this, why don't we do it? Control. I love control. I love having control over my life to the point where if I'm driving on the highway, I don't even use cruise control because I hate not being in control that much. I need to be driving. I don't like the idea of my car driving, not me driving the car, if that makes sense. I love having control over what my number one problem is. I love having control over every situation that arises. To the point where when I stress, everything comes out of my control and I need to control it again. I need to do everything I can to take control again. So who do I go to? Me. I go to me. I don't go to God, I go to me. Because I'm the one that needs to be in control. So what do I do? I try and take back this control, but who am I fighting? Stress or God? Stress. But isn't that what we do as Christians? The classic case of Christian stress is us knowing that it's God who will ease our stresses and calm us down by taking the stress away. Yet we are so focused on having control over our lives that we seek help in every other way before finally going to God at the end. I can just picture God sitting up in heaven, sitting down on his golden throne. He's looking down at me, just looking so intently at me, eyes trying to pierce through, trying to signal to me that I'm here. Hello, why aren't you coming to me? He's the classic parent, because I'm sure as parents, that's what you do as well. Matthew 11:28, next slide please, says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest." We know that. That is a very famous text in the Bible. But do we abide by that? Do we do that? Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. According to a Christian article on stress and anxiety, there are 7 ways that we can deal with stress. Number 1, admit that there's a problem. I'm sure those that are having control, like me, do not like to admit that there's a problem. You do not like to admit outwardly that you have a problem, that there's something that you're stressing about, because you're also admitting that you have lost control. Number 2, stop self-medicating in unhealthy ways. Number 3, take care of yourself physically. In his letter to the Corinthians, the Apostle Paul encourages believers to remember that our body is a living temple, one that has been bought at a great price, and therefore we ought to glorify God with it. Number 4, be intentional in what goes into your mind. Next slide, please. Philippians 4 verse 8 says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Next slide, please. Consider seeing a doctor. I'm not the type of person I don't like doctors. I don't like doctors at all. So number 5 would not be something I do, but I'm sure some of you out there, going to a doctor might be a lot of help to you. Number 6, embrace the blessing of brokenness. What? I don't want to do that. Blessing of brokenness? Is that really a blessing? But what it's talking about is when we're at our lowest point, there is nowhere to go but up. With God's help, He will bring us up. And I haven't got it on there, but 2 Corinthians 12 verses 8 to 10 says, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take this suffering away from me. But He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. This is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in results, in hardships, in persecutions, or in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And number 7, don't neglect the spiritual. Acknowledge that we're living in a spiritual war, and while God wants us to grow and flourish, there is one who does not. Pray. One of my favourite verses, and a summary of that verse, James 5:16, says, when a believing person prays, great things happen. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Going to your church community and finding support from them, and also reading the Bible and reflecting on some of these texts that I've just read out. Let's not become accustomed to the classic case of Christian stress. Instead, let's go straight to God before we go to anything or anyone else for guidance. Let's go to God before we binge watch Friends. Let's go to God before we log on to Pinterest and update our wedding, cooking or teaching pages. Let's go to God before we drink a cup of tea. Let's go to God before we take a drive. Let's go to God as He's our best friend, not stress. God's our best friend. Better than the friends who you would have gone to first. Let's choose God first every time, as through Him, He gives us strength and guidance. Next slide, please. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you eat or drink, or about your body and what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. When I am at my lowest point and am feeling so overwhelmed and stressed, I look to God and start singing this song that always comes to mind, and it's only one song that comes to mind. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour, I need you. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much for bringing us here today, and thank you that we've come all together to praise and worship you and to glorify you and spend time with you, grow closer with you. Thank you so much that you are the answer to all our stresses, that you are the one that we can go to first, that you know exactly what to do to help ease those stresses and for us to be able to cope with those stresses as well. Thank you though that you do give us this stress. Thank you that we are able to, through this stress, find a blessing in our brokenness. Thank you so much for dying on a cross for us and for loving us and for being there for us.